the quiet, sterile, and emotionally heavy atmosphere of the hospital, a deeply intimate and revealing moment unfolds between Ted Richardson and his daughter, Catherine, Kat Richardson. For weeks, we have watched Ted stand by in complete and utter bafflement as Kat made a series of wildly erratic decisions following her life-saving liver transplant surgery. The most chaotic of these choices, without a doubt, was her sudden, impulsive purchase of a luxury condo. It was a move that left everyone, especially her mother Nicole, scratching their heads. But in this quiet hospital room, away from the prying eyes of the Dupree matriarchs and the chaotic noise of Fairmont Crest, Ted gently pushes for the truth. He sits beside his daughter, looks her in the eye, and softly asks for the real reason behind this massive real estate purchase. And what happens next completely shatters the facade Kat has been desperately trying to maintain. Kat breaks down, the tears flow freely, and the emotional dam finally bursts. She tearfully admits to her father that she bought the luxury condo for one reason and one reason only: to cover up the suffocating, overwhelming guilt she feels for publicly rejecting Tomas Navarro's marriage proposal in front of her entire family. I have to say, watching this realization unfold is incredibly tragic. Kat has been drowning in this guilt, overcompensating by throwing money at a problem that money simply cannot fix. She thought that by buying a home for them, she could prove her commitment to Tomas without actually having to put on a wedding ring. It was a band-aid on a bullet wound, a desperate attempt to fix a shattered male ego while simultaneously ignoring her own boundaries. Ted, stepping up as the wise, grounded father figure we all know he can be, offers her a profound piece of advice. He gently reassures his daughter that true love can never, ever be built on a foundation of compensation or guilt. He reminds her that you cannot buy someone's forgiveness, nor should you force yourself into a domestic life you are not ready for just to appease a wounded partner. Ted's words act as a massive emotional release for Kat. You can almost see the heavy, suffocating weight lifting off her shoulders. Feeling instantly relieved and empowered by her father's unconditional support, Kat makes a split-second decision. She picks up her phone and decides to call Deanna McBride to cancel the real estate contract immediately. So this makes me wonder, did Kat even pause to consider the collateral damage of this impulsive cancellation? Because across town, a completely different scene is playing out. Deanna McBride and her mother Vanessa are in the midst of a joyous, triumphant celebration. For Deanna, this luxury condo sale wasn't just a transaction. It was her very first real estate deal. It was her grand entrance into the professional world, a desperate attempt to build a career, step out of the haunting shadow of her deceased father, Doug, and distance herself from the sinister, criminal underworld of Joey Armstrong. Deanna and Vanessa are clinking glasses, celebrating this milestone, bonding as mother and daughter over this massive success. But that is not all. Just as the champagne is flowing and the smiles are at their brightest, Deanna's phone rings. It is Kat, and in a matter of seconds, the celebratory atmosphere shatters into a million jagged pieces. When Kat casually drops the bomb that she is pulling out of the deal and canceling the contract, Deanna is initially stunned into absolute silence. But that shock rapidly morphs into pure, unadulterated, volcanic rage. Deanna explodes. She lashes out at Kat with a ferocity we have rarely seen from her, viciously accusing the Dupree heiress of intentionally sabotaging and ruining her budding career. My theory is that Deanna's reaction is about so much more than just a lost commission. Deanna has been psychologically tortured. She is dealing with the ghost of her father, the terrifying presence of Joey Armstrong in her mother's bed, and her own feelings of powerlessness. This real estate career was her lifeline to sanity and independence. And now, Kat, a girl born with a silver spoon in her mouth, who casually throws around millions of dollars, is treating Deanna's livelihood like a disposable toy. Deanna flat out refuses to accept the cancellation. With ice in her veins, she sharply reminds Kat that this is a legally binding business transaction, not a child's game to be picked up and thrown away on a whim. Vanessa, witnessing her daughter's heartbreak and fury, instantly transforms into a fierce mama bear. We all know Vanessa has her flaws, and her taste in men is highly questionable, but her love for her children is absolute. Vanessa immediately takes Deanna's side, grabbing the phone or stepping into the fray to absolutely blast Kat. Vanessa aggressively criticizes Kat for being wildly unprofessional, selfish, and inconsiderate. This confrontation is setting the stage for a massive, ugly war between the McBrides and the Dupree-Richardson dynasty. Vanessa is already on edge because of Joey's criminal ties, and now she has a direct target for her maternal rage, Catherine Richardson. But the absolute most devastating twist in this entire saga is who is standing just out of sight, listening to every single word of this chaotic cancellation. Tomas Navarro. Yes, Tomas happens to overhear the entire argument, and the sheer humiliation that washes over him is palpable. I honestly feel sick to my stomach for him. Let us deeply analyze Tomas's psychology for a moment. This is a man with deep traditional values, a man who prides himself on being a provider. He was already feeling incredibly emasculated by Kat's. When she bought the condo without telling him, it was a massive blow to his pride. He explicitly told her he refused to be a kept man. Yet, because he loves her, Tomas swallowed his pride. He compromised. He agreed to a trial move-in, agreeing to split the rent and the utilities just so he could maintain a shred of his dignity while still being with the woman he loves. He bent over backward to accommodate Kat's impulsive, wealthy lifestyle. And how does she repay him? By canceling the entire arrangement, pulling the plug on their shared future, and backing out of the condo without even having the basic decency to consult him first. For Tomas, this is the ultimate betrayal of partnership. It proves to him, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he still has absolutely no real place in Kat. He is an afterthought, a supporting character in the grand, dramatic play of Catherine Richardson's life. He overhears her canceling their future together as if she were returning a pair of shoes she decided she didn't like. The disrespect is staggering, and I cannot even begin to imagine the crushing weight of the humiliation he feels standing there, realizing that his voice, his feelings, and his compromises mean absolutely nothing to the woman he was ready to marry. So, this makes me wonder, what is Tomas going to do next? Is this the final fatal nail in the coffin for Tomcat? I firmly believe that a man can only take so much humiliation before his love turns into bitter resentment. Will Tomas finally pack his bags, walk away from the toxic orbit of the Dupree family, and leave Fairmont Crest for good? Or will this profound heartbreak push him down a darker path? Could we see a vengeful Tomas, a man who decides that if he cannot have Kat's respect, he will take something else? Perhaps he will find comfort in the arms of someone else, maybe even someone who actively hates Kat, just to twist the knife. And what about Deanna? Will she take this lying down? Absolutely not. My theory is that Deanna is going to enforce this contract with every legal loophole she can find. But if the legal route fails, we must remember who is sleeping in her mother's bed. Joey Armstrong. Deanna has been highly critical of Joey, but desperation makes people do terrible things. Could Deanna secretly leverage Joey's underworld connections and his team of thugs like Randy Parker to intimidate Kat into paying up? Imagine the absolute chaos if Deanna unleashes the plasma rings muscle on the Dupree family over a breached real estate contract. It would perfectly tie the corporate drama into the criminal underworld storyline. Furthermore, how will Nicole react when she finds out that Ted was the one who convinced Kat to pull the plug? Nicole was already highly suspicious of the condo purchase, but she also wants Kat to be happy. If Tomas leaves Kat because of this, Kat is going to spiral into an even deeper depression. Will Nicole blame Ted for giving Kat the advice that ultimately destroyed her relationship? We already know Nicole has been harboring secret, steamy fantasies about Ted. Could this conflict over Kat's future ignite a fiery, passionate argument between the two exes that ultimately leads them straight into the bedroom? The tension between Nicole and Ted is a powder keg waiting for a match, and Kat's romantic implosion might just be the spark. I am completely obsessed with the intricate, messy dynamics of this storyline. I find myself feeling incredibly empathetic towards Tomas, a man who just wanted a traditional love story and ended up trapped in a whirlwind of billionaire impulsivity. But I also feel a strange sense of pity for Kat. She is a girl who has everything money can buy, yet she is entirely emotionally bankrupt. She doesn't know how to communicate. She doesn't know how to partner with someone. and she uses her checkbook as a shield against her own insecurities. As we look toward the future episodes, the questions are endless. Will Deanna successfully sue the Duprees? Will Vanessa's fierce defense of her daughter put her in the crosshairs of Vernon and Anita's immense power? Will Tomas confront Kat about what he overheard, or will he simply vanish into the night, leaving her to wonder why she is suddenly alone? And most importantly, when Kat realizes the sheer magnitude of the destruction her impulsivity has caused, ruining Deanna's career, enraging Vanessa, and utterly humiliating Tomas, will she finally take accountability, or will she run back to the safety of her family's wealth? The drama in Fairmont Crest is reaching a boiling point, and I, for one, cannot wait to see who gets burned when it all explodes. Let me know your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below, and stay tuned for more shocking updates.